Hey everyone, welcome to Looporama. Today we're discussing the announcement that Fun Spot Atlanta will be permanently closing on August 2nd. For those unfamiliar, Fun Spot Atlanta is located in Fayetteville, Georgia, about 40 minutes south of downtown Atlanta. So despite the name, it isn't within the city itself, and it's not in a location that you would just randomly come across. So throughout the last week or so, there had already been quite a few rumors floating around that Fun Spot Atlanta was going to close. Well, at first, I honestly didn't really believe them. I was kind of hesitant to believe these rumors. I feel like in the theme park community, as with a lot of communities, rumors spread all the time, and most of the time, they either get exaggerated or just don't end up happening or being true. However, unfortunately, this time they did turn out to be true. And honestly, the announcement came a lot sooner than I expected. Even if the park was going to close, I thought they would maybe announce it towards the end of the year, not literally in just over a month's time. It's obviously always sad whenever a park closes, and my thoughts go out to everyone involved and just anyone who cared about the park. And I think what makes this one sting even more is that Arie Force One is only about 4 years old. You just don't expect to see a custom ground up RMC this new suddenly end up in a situation like this. Now, one of the original rumors also said that Arie Force One would end up being scrapped and sold off as scrap metal as a tax write-off. Now, as of recording this video, nothing has been confirmed about the ride's future, so I do want to take that with a grain of salt. That being said though, the fact that the closure rumors turned out to be true does make me wonder and kind of makes me afraid that there might be some truth to those rumors as well. But I honestly don't know what will happen. Of course, I would love to see the ride being relocated or even Fun Spot Atlanta reopening under different branding or something along those lines, but at the same time, especially relocating the ride, that is still a huge expensive project, and I wonder how much money you'd save compared to just building a brand new coaster that is designed specifically for parks' wants and needs. So hopefully Arie Force One gets a second life somewhere, because I really do think it's an incredible ride. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, I want to discuss where I think and why I believe things went wrong, and I just want to be brutally honest. So, to give a bit of backstory on the park itself, it's pretty obvious that Arie Force One was meant to be the headline attraction. It's the ride that obviously defines Fun Spot Atlanta, and honestly, it's kind of the only real reason enthusiasts ever ended up going there in the first place. Nobody's flying in or even making a trip for the E&F Miler coaster, the kiddie coaster, or the atmosphere of the park. And I don't really want to kick the park while they're down, but I do think this is where things get very questionable. Because don't get me wrong, I love Arie Force One. It's an incredible ride, but I do think it was a very, let's call it, ambitious investment for a park like this. We're talking about a $18 million investment in a park that, from what I've seen and from the people that I've spoken to, just didn't really have that level of awareness or pull in the local area. As an example, I know quite a few people in and around Atlanta, and when I mentioned Fun Spot Atlanta, most of them had never, or honestly, none of them had ever heard of it. Not the park, not Arie Force One, not the go-karts, nothing. And these are people that are living 30 minutes away. They all knew Six Flags Over Georgia, of course, but Fun Spot just wasn't on their radar. And I do feel like that says a lot. To me, the main issue was never really the ride itself. It was visibility, it was marketing, it was the fact that most people didn't even know it existed. And I honestly think they could have gone in a very different direction and probably ended up in a better place long term. Something like a smaller Vekoma family suspended coaster, for example, still would have been a really solid addition. It still would have looked great from the road, still would have given families something new, would still be a fun ride for thrill seekers, but it wouldn't require that kind of massive financial commitment. And then with the money saved, you could actually improve the park itself. More shade, more greenery, just make the park feel more comfortable overall. And then on top of that, actually investing into marketing so people even know you exist. Small parks like this matter. Not every park needs to be a Disney, not every park needs to be a Six Flags. These smaller family parks are really important, but they only really work if people know about them and actually show up. And that's kind of the main takeaway I want from this video. Support your local parks when you can, because once they're gone, they're usually gone for good. And the second takeaway is basically, if you've been thinking about riding ArieForce One, now is the time. Especially if you're anywhere near Georgia or if you're planning a trip already, please combine it with Six Flags Over Georgia and make the trip worth it. Because there's a very real chance this could end up being one of those rides people talk about in hindsight as, I wish I had gone when I still could. Now, obviously, saying all of this with hindsight, it's easy to sit here and say what they should have done. Maybe ArieForce One really was a passion project. Maybe they genuinely thought it would change everything for the park. And honestly, I do respect their ambition behind that. But when you look at how the park actually was, it's hard not to feel like the money could have spread out better. A lot better. Because the park itself, at least in my experience, always felt like this weird mix between a fairground, a go-kart place, a FEC, and a small amusement park. Lots of concrete, and let's be real, it just kind of feels like a really hot parking lot. There's not a ton of shade, not a ton of atmosphere. And when I visited, very low attendance, barely any music, and just kind of a quiet, empty feeling overall. And that contrast is really what stands out the most to me, because ArieForce One is genuinely a world-class roller coaster, but everything around it feels like it belongs to a, let's say, very different park. And the gap between ArieForce One and the rest of the park is just huge. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on ArieForce One, Fun Spot Atlanta, and the announcement of its closure. Thank you for watching. That's all, folks. I'll see you on the next one on Looporama.